time, you don't need to understand, eh? You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same.
Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous.
Ay, please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Ay, I can never let up even if you had enough. Ay, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat in submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance ain't coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk, I just show them. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling. They already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, Just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same.
Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous. Cause it can get dangerous.
All right. Special edition, Friday special edition. We are putting it in today. This is not the normal thing. My food is, my internet is weird. It's freezing. It's acting weird. I already can see it on the screen. I don't know. I can't call it, man. I don't know if it's the weather, whatever it may be, but we still got to get this work in, right? We got to talk about it. The weigh-ins are done. Listen, man, whatever you're speculating to, whatever you're leaning to, whatever side of the conversation that you are leaning on right now, it doesn't really matter at this point. Get your picks in, because tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon for us here in the States, it's going down, right? One of the best cards in the longest time goes down tomorrow. The fighters have all weighed in. Everybody's done their job thus far. No mishaps, no missing weight, no popped up performance enhancement drug blood tests, no issues that we are aware of. These fighters are healthy and ready to put in that work and show out for us tomorrow. Yeah. We've all talked about it. It's been going on for months now, right? We've all been talking about it. We've been arguing about it. We've been on these panels. Shout out to all the content creators who have been supporting this event coming together once again. And salute, of course, to Turkey, Al Sheikh, Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season for putting this together. This is right now. We are rolling into the golden era of boxing, the end of 2025. We're coming to the end of the year. We've had great fights this year. This card seems like the one that would cap it off just right? We got other cards coming up, but we've known about this card for a minute now. So many stories, so many different build up to each one of these fights to a certain degree, but specifically one over the other, right, has a great story on it. And listen, man, we got to get past all the silliness of it all. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. I mean, there's always the draw. The draw is always part of the conversation in boxing. But at the end of the day, we don't pick draws here. We pick winners, right? We pick winners, and we got to talk about it. Salute to everybody who's in the building right now. I'm sure there's 100,000 platforms right now pushing content right now. This ain't the normal day. Tuesday, Thursday, 3 p.m. is the day right now, at least, unless things change. That's where I want to do the show. But I said I'd pop up and I'd say I'd give my picks today. I wanted to wait for the weigh-ins, and I think it was worth the wait, right? We'll talk about the weigh-ins. We'll talk about how these fighters were looking. And then, of course, I'll give my predictions, my picks. 50-50 card, it's hard. It's really difficult. I know a lot of people were putting the pressure on me to give these picks earlier. Shout out to my brother Johnny at the Hangout spot. A lot of people over there wanted me to put those picks in as early as possible. But I was like, listen, man, I want to see the weigh-ins, man. There's just too much. It's too close. And when you got fights like this coming together, it's all about the intangibles, right? It's easy when it's a plus 1,500 against a minus 800 fighter. You can call those, but when you get matchmaking done like this, you really got to look at the intangibles, because there's everything that we obviously see, right? There's the things that we obviously see about these fighters, but then it's about the other things, right? It's the intangibles. It's a small little commitments to the sport. It's the lifestyle. It's the mentality. It's the psychology. All these different things come into play when you're trying to figure out who's going to win between two guys who are so evenly matched. And that's what we have here on this card. Salute to everybody who's in the building right now. Flexing and stepping, first one in the building. Let's get it, Clay. Yeah, we got to get it. We got to get it for sure. Flexing and stepping. Appreciate you being in the building, man. Shout out to SOB TV in the building saying salute, Clay. Blessings. They're trying to play mind games with the Normans, but it's not working. Man, yeah, man. Listen, the mind games are done. No more mind games. No more mind games, SOB TV. I mean, listen, that's part of the game. And that's another thing. It's shout out to everybody who's supporting the sport and who's here for boxing, but don't let those mind games get in your mind, right? Because sometimes we get upset with the fighters. We take things personal for the fighters. We try to live for the fighters instead of supporting them. So listen, whatever they said, whatever they've done in between them, that's in the spirit of a fight being built up. That's a lot of strategy. That's a lot of mind games, like you said, are being played all for the victory. And we can't take that away from the fighters. They're not friends with each other. They're both trying to hurt each other, send each other to the hospital. Lives are on the line. So everything goes when these guys are going at it. So yeah, look, we're going to talk about that as well. The mind games, which is definitely part of this conversation. The mind games is definitely part of the conversation. And we got to talk about what that means into this fight right now. Today, Devin Haney and Brian Norman face off. Both guys look dialed in and focused, man. And that's what I expected. I'm expecting to see a lot. I'm expecting to see a lot from Devin tomorrow, right? We're going to talk about all of that, man. Shout out to spiritual ministry, the spiritual ministry in the building. Salute, Queen. I see a thumbnail of a young lady in the thumbnail. So I'm assuming it's a young lady. Maybe, if it's not, sorry. But salute, Queen. Peace to the Queen, the spiritual ministry in the building. Shout out to Southpaw Money in the building. Southpaw Money, salute, salute, salute. Salute to Multiverse Gaming 384 says the draw is 1,400. Yeah, I know, right? Right? Flexing and Stepping says it's going to be an interesting night. 100%, man. 100%. Is his cam glitching? Yeah, it's glitching. It's the internet. I don't know what's going on. The weather out here is it's super cloudy. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I have no idea. Bear with me. I don't know. I can't call it. I can't call it, Queen. But we're gonna sit here and break these fights down, man. It is what it is, man. Salute to everybody who's popping in the building, man. Just Crypto in the building with the Let's Cook. Salute Just Crypto. Tavon Burns in the building with the yes sir. Salute, Tavon. As you guys are stepping in the building, take a moment, hit the like button. Hit the like button for your boy. And definitely, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, take a moment and subscribe to the channel. The internet service is choppy today. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the weather. I don't know what to do about it. I'm legitimately thinking about getting Starlink. I'll be honest with you. I think that's what I'm probably going to end up doing, is going with Elon and Starlink, because it's inconsistent. As of late, it's been weird. I mean, the last couple of days has been great, but it doesn't shock me at this point that it's glitching right now. I was kind of knowing I was on borrowed time anyway, right? Listen, man, let's get it in and let's get right to it, man. David Benavidez, Anthony Yarde, Night of the Champions, man. We're going to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4 of the fights on the card. There's more cards on more fights in the card. We got Vito Milanecki on that card, and we got a decent little undercard of some prospects, I guess, or some up and coming guys that I'm not all the way familiar with. I haven't looked at them all the way, but I got to talk about these 4 fights here, and we'll start with the obvious one on the table here. Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes. We're going to talk about that fight right now. Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes, a very competitive fight. People, if you don't know the story, I'll really try to land this plane. Shout out to my folks who've been trying to get me to dial things down, not be so long-winded, and get right to the point, right? Abdullah Mason is a great contender at this point. And I almost said prospect, right? Because what does Abdullah Mason bring to the table? He's a new guy. He's 21 years old. He's young. And he got moved pretty fast in the past 2 years, right? Move fast, but move fast the correct way as far as through activity. Not just, he's great. Let's get him 2 fights just to make sure he is who we think he is and get him in a championship fight. No, for the past 2 years, Abdullah Mason has been damn near, 8 to 10 fights. You know what I mean? They moved him fast. Top Rank obviously saw something in Abdullah Mason. And as we watched Abdullah Mason grow into the space and we watched his matches, we started to recognize what Top Rank recognized about Abdullah Mason, right? We understand that the Cleveland, Ohioander, right? The native of Cleveland, Ohio, is a naturally athletically gifted, powerful punching savant in the game. And we knew what we were looking at potentially. Then you add the layers to Abdullah Mason. You add his maturity. You add the way that he carries himself, right? His character. You add his faith. He's a fellow brother in Islam, and you start to realize that not only do you appreciate the savant energy he brings to the ring as far as his skill set is concerned, but you also appreciate the genuine character of this guy, right? His the way he carries himself, you appreciate it. You want the sport to start to get this face, because in the past couple of years, the sport has been what it's been. If you complain about it, if you've been happy with it, it's up to you. But one thing's for sure is, from my perspective, I've seen the sport become way more, to a degree, ghetto, dare I say. A lack of etiquette, right? And you don't see advertisers bringing their products in and their brands and aligning it with fighters nowadays. Back in the day, you see Marvin Hagler, he'd be doing an Old Spice commercial, right? You'd even see, like, let's say Mike Tyson way back in the day in front of a Wheaties box, or these advertisers, these companies wanted to market their brands with these athletes, and you haven't seen it a lot. So now in this new golden era, when you see the Xander Zayases, the Abdullah Masons, the Brian Norman Juniors, you see all these guys, you're starting to see this new class, this new changing of guard of fighters that are coming in, that are carrying themselves with a little bit more class, a little bit more integrity, and you're wishing them the best, because it makes you excited. It makes you excited about where boxing is going to, because now I'm proud my kids are watching it, and it's becoming more family friendly to a degree, where it was very drill rapperish energy, right? It is what it is. So Abdullah Mason brings all those elements to the game, and you knew that it wouldn't be long before he found himself in a championship fight. We saw him go through some adversity. We seen him mature, but this is a big jump for Abdullah Mason. Huge jump from his last fight that he had into this fight right now, right? He's gone from, prospect level fights, 8-round fights, right? And now he's going into a 12-round fight with a seasoned Sam Noakes from out of England, who's grown up inside of that and been developed inside of that UK boxing scene. And the UK boxing scene is a unique boxing scene, right? It's a scene that, as American boxing fans, we're not as familiar with, but you always assume that at the end of the day, the elite in the UK and the elite in the American boxing scene is two different conversations. It just is what it is, right? But there's certain points in the European or in the UK boxing scene that, in my opinion, when it comes to developing fighters, getting fighters where they need to be, they kind of do have the edge in some conversations, right? This one right here is going to be an interesting one, because I think it's easy to favor Abdullah Mason going into this fight, but you don't want to look past Sam Noakes. You don't want to look at his undefeated record. You don't want to look at the fact that he's maybe lost a round in his whole professional career, that on paper, these judges have not found him to even have lost a round yet, no less a match in boxing. And you have to acknowledge that attribute that he brings to the table, and that this is also going to be a big challenge in his big step up. But Abdullah Mason is definitely going to have an opportunity to show and prove that he's special. He's different for the rest of his peers. He's sort of a Kobe Bryant, right? He's kind of almost coming right out of high school, going right into the big leagues. And you're a little worried for him, because as good as he looked amongst his peers in high school, he never got a chance to develop in that collegiate level basketball. And he came right in. He's right on the court with the Michael Jordans, right? He's right on the court with the best of the best, with some of his idols potentially. And Abdullah Mason may be experiencing something similar. Not that Sam Noakes is an idol of his, but at the end of the day, at this point, if he picks up this belt, he's going to be in a conversation with Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Tank Davis, right? He's going to be in the conversation with champions. No more prospect energy. So it's a lot for Abdullah Mason to process his time. And the question is, does he step it up? Does he meet the moment and stay focused and dialed in. Well, listen, all those things being said, Abdullah Mason hasn't given us any reason to question his integrity or his ability to deal with the moment. He's been very measured throughout this whole entire process. His interviews, clear, articulate. He's not distracted. Doesn't seem to allow the pressure of the moment to get to him. And we know what he can do naturally. Now he's going to have to make adjustments. He has to deal with a fighter who's not necessarily there to just get out the way. We may very well see Abdullah Mason in his first 12-round fight all the way to the end, as Sam Noakes has experience, and he's a durable fighter, and he packs power in both hands. I'm going to give my pick right now and tell you right now that I'm going to give Abdullah Mason the head nod on this one. I think that he's going to meet the moment. I think we're going to see new pieces of Abdullah Mason that we didn't see before. I think he solidifies and locks in a whole entire brand new fan base. He's on an international big stage right now. And although Riyadh season is not going to have, 50,000, 70,000 people in the building, it's a very intimate venue the way it's set up, right? A couple of thousand people, but it's still the biggest stage in the world. And he's got to feel that pressure, right? In the Mecca of Saudi Arabia. So let's see what Abdullah Mason does. I'm looking forward to see the adjustments. I'm looking forward to see Abdullah Mason control this fight, not allow Sam Noakes to swarm him and drown him in the pressure. I'm looking forward to see that footwork. He's going to have to be on angles on this one. He's going to have to use his angles well. He's going to have to make Sam Noakes pay as well. How does the fight end? I'll be honest with you. I got Abdullah Mason stopping Sam Noakes. I think it's going to be amazing. It's probably going to be a late round stoppage. Abdullah's going to have to take the first 3 to 5 rounds just to get an understanding and a feel of the pressure that Sam Noakes is going to bring in. There's a lot of danger. He's got to be defensively sound in this one. Sam Noakes knows how to get to the point of impact, the chin. He's going to work the body. He's going to hit him with a lot of combination punching, and Abdullah Mason is going to have to get the rhythm of Sam Noakes, and he's going to have to punch with Sam Noakes at some point in this fight, and that's when this fight's going to become interesting. I'm leaning towards Abdullah Mason. I know a lot of people just feel like he's going to win it, and it's going to be a sweep. I'm not necessarily there yet. I think this is going to be a 60-40 fight. I give it to Abdullah Mason, but he's going to have to really be on his game, and we're going to see what he does with the moment, right? Because this is a huge jump. You're looking at a really, in so many ways, still a prospect in so many ways. Abdullah Mason is, but I think the special guys do special things. They're different than everybody else, and they can take on this type of opportunity and they can make it happen. And I'm betting on the side of Abdullah Mason being special, and that's what's going to separate him and get him. And I think we're going to have the youngest WBO champion in the world. We're going to have the youngest boxing champion in the world crowned tomorrow with Abdullah Mason. It is what it is, right? Salute to Abdullah Mason and that team, and let's hope everything works out well for them. Let's go into the next fight here as we got Jesse Bam Rodriguez, a unified. What is he? I always get those lower weight classes confused. Hold on a second. I want to get it right here, right? Is he? He's not a featherweight. What is he again? Hold on a second here. What are you, Jesse? Jesse, what are you, man? Well, 115 pounds, right? 150 pounds. But what is it called again? Somebody help me here. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness gracious. Hold on one second here. Jesse. Super flyweight. Right. There we go. Unified super flyweight champion. He holding down 2 of the belts, WBC and WBO unified ring magazine champion, the only ring magazine champion on this card. And Jesse Rodriguez, a lightweight super flyweight guy. Over here in America, we don't deal with the lightweights like we deal with everybody else. But Jesse Bam Rodriguez is so special. He's standing out. We recognize him. He's on the pound for pound list, number 5 on the pound for pound list. Some people think maybe even he should be at the number 4 spot. And if you're really just a fanatic of Jesse Bam Rodriguez, you might want him at the number 2 or number 1 spot. I don't know where you're at with it, but I totally get it, right? And I'm bobbing with that because he's such a talented fighter. Really is such a talented fighter. Brings the whole entire compass of boxing. If you want to see the sweet science of boxing, you see everything boxing has to offer as far as entertainment is concerned, and as far as a cerebral energy, as far as that fighting spirit, the grit of boxing. You watch a Jesse Bam Rodriguez, and he makes you re-fall in love with the sport every single time he gets on the big stage, man. And he's legitimately a type of fighter that steals the show when he gets into the room, right? He steals it. You don't expect him. He's always a sleeper for some reason. But he always delivers. And he has a fighter in front of him in Fernando Puma Martinez, who's bringing that energy. And Puma Martinez is what I tell you guys about these dance partners. He is the dance partner. Puma Martinez doesn't have to win for you to want to watch him fight, because the way he fights is always so exciting. It's always so entertaining. He always brings it on the night of the fight. And that's what I'm expecting to see between these guys here, as this is a unified champion. Puma Martinez bringing his WBA championship, and he's looking to become a lineal champion, a unified champion as well. Both these guys going in it knowing that one of these guys will walk away with the victory and be one belt shy of being undisputed in the super flyweight division. This one right here is one of the easier fights for me to call. As far as who's going to win it, I think Jesse Bam Rodriguez takes this fight and does his thing. But what I'm looking forward to seeing in this fight, more than who's going to win it, is going to be how Jesse Bam Rodriguez wins it. Because Fernando Puma Martinez is a legitimate champion. And he's there to derail and interrupt and mess up all plans that anybody has. He's not there to be walked over or stepped on. But the way he boxes with that Argentinian approach of boxing, it's going to be an exciting match. He's going to bring the pressure. He's going to bring a lot of combination punching, and he's going to be underneath Jesse Rodriguez's punches as much as he can. 5'2" guy here with a lot of energy, a lot of dog in him, a lot of grit. And I think we're going to see Jesse Bam Rodriguez's grit on the stage tomorrow. Look for Jesse Bam Rodriguez to find his angles, time his punches. I'm sure it's going to end up being a stoppage in this one. That's what I feel like it's going to be. Look out for the body work from Jesse Bam Rodriguez as he tries to take out the air from the tires of Puma Martinez, who's going to be constantly pushing the pressure. Look for the uppercuts in between the high guard of Puma Martinez, as Puma Martinez is going to try to work from behind that and let his hands go. And he's going to try to work in punches and bunches. But Bam has to get that respect from Puma Martinez. And that's going to be entertaining. And after this fight is all said and done, on the back end of a great performance by Jesse Bam Rodriguez, the next question is, does he stay at super flyweight and go for that last belt and become undisputed? Or does he take his talents up and go and face the next level of opposition? People, we want to see him with the Nakatanis. We want to see him even, who knows, monster in a way one day. There's plenty of fights that you want to see Jesse Bam Rodriguez in. He's built for it. He's coming in there with that Hall of Famer, as far as I'm concerned, future Hall of Famer trainer and boxer, Robert Garcia. That camp right there is producing such great products. Jesse Bam Rodriguez is just one of many fighters coming out of that camp, and I'm looking forward to seeing him perform. I think he has a great dance partner in front of him in Puma Martinez, man. And this fight right here may steal the show, maybe the fight of the night, just based off of the matchmaking. And you got to give Riyadh Season all the praises and all of the props in the world, because one thing they've come to the table with is they have great matchmakers. Stylistically, they put it all on the line. They're giving you legacy. They're giving you legendary fights, right? They're giving us all of that, and they're giving these fighters their best paydays. So shout out to those guys, man. Salute to everybody who's still popping up in the building. Rick Tim's in the middle. Donnell Austin in the building said he's in for a hard fight. No doubt, Donnell, for sure, man. It's going to be a hard fight for Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Definitely not going to be an easy fight, but I think he's going to show out, man. I think he's going to show out, and I'm picking Jesse Bam Rodriguez with the stoppage in this fight. Probably, once again, I'm going to be honest with you. I know it sounds crazy for me to say that it's going to be a difficult fight, but I think Bam Rodriguez shows that he's special. Once again, special fighters do special things. I got this one inside of 6 rounds. Jesse Bam Rodriguez stopping Puma Martinez. Let's move on to the next conversation on the table, the big fight that everybody's waiting for, and the one that's possibly stolen the show, Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. That one gets the horns, ladies and gentlemen, because this fight is arguably should have been the main event, is what they're telling us, right? This is the fight that should have been the main event, but it's not the main event, right? But that being said, on a card full of main event fights, how upset are you if it's not a main event? You're not but so upset, right? But this fight right here has the storyline behind it. It has Devin Haney, Devin the Dream Haney, a fighter who is always, from day one, seems like he's chasing down this greatness, chasing down this legacy. He's always been focusing. He's got such a supportive cast of people around him, between his father, his brother, and his team. He walks around with security, and Devin Haney's not everybody's cup of tea, right? He's not for everybody. And listen, in life, you just can't be for everybody, right? You just can't be for everybody. Everybody, if everybody likes you, then there might be something wrong with you, because you got to be you first and foremost. And that's what this fight here is about. This fight is about truth. Be true to thine own self. No identity crisis, as Devin Haney at one point in time, has always been a fighter who seems to have known who he was, and he always brought his best attributes, you would think, to the ring, and it made him who he was. But as of late, Devin Haney's been dealing with the identity issue. Who is Devin Haney? As he's always tried to be in competition with Gervonta Tank Davis, the quote-unquote face of boxing at that point in time. And at some point or another, it felt like, from my perspective, Devin Haney kind of changed his game a little bit. He started to wonder what it felt like to be the knockout guy. He wanted to be more of an exciting fighter. He noticed that the boxing space wasn't necessarily celebrating the champions. And he thought going for that, trying to follow in the suit of the great fighters before him that he thought were going to pave the way for him, in the Roy Jones of the world, the Floyd Mayweathers of the world. He always noticed the Zab Judas. He noticed that these guys were super decorated. And when he grew up thinking that when he became a boxer, that he was going to achieve the same accomplishments and be celebrated in the same way. And he just wasn't, right? He just wasn't accepted the same way, as there was an era of boxing that rolled in where the champions weren't celebrated as much. It was all about the showsters, the Deontay Wilders, Gervonta Tank Davises, the Canelo Alvarezes. It was all about the guys with the punching power, and they brought that to the table. And people like Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, these guys were all in the shadow of all of that and trying to figure out, and some of them are still trying to figure out how to cross that line. We saw Devin Haney go up and take a fight with Ryan Garcia, and we saw Devin Haney get out of his character, right? And we started to see him transition even before that. If you want to go back to the Jorge Linari fight, or we can start at the Regis Prograis, however you feel about it, he started to transition, and the dream started to change into somebody else. And we saw a glimpse of it in the Regis Prograis fight, and we saw the possibilities in who Devin Haney could be. And if you were a Devin Haney fan, you might have got a little bit more excited at what you saw from him in that Regis Prograis fight, but he didn't kill. He didn't go for the unaliving of Regis Prograis, as it seemed like he took his foot off the gas in that fight, had an opportunity to do something to Regis Prograis and didn't do it. And the question in my mind when I saw that was, why? What happened there, right? You think naturally he would go for that kill because he's a fighter. Something held him back, but nonetheless, a great performance against Regis Prograis. Devin Haney, I remember being interviewed about that fight, and the people were celebrating him. The pundits were saying, listen, man, you did great, man. It's just like the weight cut didn't affect you as much. How do you feel at 140? It was great. We were all excited for Devin Haney and what the future held for Devin Haney, because we saw him struggle so much in the 135-pound division, and we knew that he was just sitting there. A lot of people call him a weight bully, whatever you want to call it. And I always tell you guys, when it comes to that weight bullying thing, it's a weird conversation for me, because I get it, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of arguments and cons against cutting that much weight versus the pros of having the size, having the length, the length of the arms, being the bigger guy, the taller guy, the stronger guy, however you want to look at it. These guys have to carry this weight cut the right way, because if you don't carry it the right way, then you end up a depleted fighter, a weak fighter, a fighter with low punch resistance. And in Devin Haney's next fight that he lined up against Ryan Garcia, we saw that exposed. We saw the weight cut, a bad weight cut on Devin Haney. We saw the raccoon eyes. He was walking up there with like Neo in the like Neo in the Matrix with the shades on, right, trying to cover it up. But real boxing fans knew what we were looking at, right? We know what we were looking at and what we saw, and we were like, damn, another bad weight cut. And then you got Ryan Garcia, who comes in, he misses weight by like 3.5 pounds. And we come to find out, with hindsight, he had ostarine in his system. And it was just bad timing for Devin Haney. And he got exposed in a real crazy way. A lot of fighters wouldn't even have survived what he went through, as he was getting knocked down and clipped with shots. And he seemed to have a hard time keeping that right hand up. And he kept getting touched. And his head was swollen. There were rumors that his jaw might have been broken at the end of the fight. And whatever it was enough for Devin Haney to not only, his confidence take a shot, but he legitimately took a hiatus from the sport, right? He takes a hiatus from the sport for a certain amount of time. This is trying to figure it out and deal with it. A lot of people aren't necessarily sensitive to Devin Haney. Like I said, everybody's not for everybody. But bottom line is, he clearly had some things outside of the rings that he wanted to deal with going into this fight. It is what it is. On his return from a year hiatus, we saw him in the ring with Jose Ramirez, and we saw a fighter who's just showing signs of PTSD, just not wanting to get hit, not wanting to engage, taking his time, getting his legs up under him. And listen, I gave him the grace. If you guys watched the live that I called with Blue Blood Sports, we were there, right there in New York, calling it. And I gave him the grace. A lot of people were like, oh, man, you're capping for Devin, man. You got to stop doing that, man. He looked crazy. And I said, listen, man, I knew that he was getting his legs back in that fight. He was getting ready for the Ryan Garcia fight. This was an awkward situation right there in the middle of Times Square. No crowd, weird, awkwardly quiet. You know, the crowd wasn't there. He knew there was a lot of money on the line, and I knew he wanted to get his confidence back. So I gave him the grace. I really did give him the grace. But this one right here on the back end of that fight means that much more now, because we don't know what Devin Haney we got going into this fight. Mentally, you can assume whatever you want. You could think that he is confident. I'm not mad at you if you think he's not confident. It's up to Devin Haney to show and prove tomorrow night for us to ultimately get the hindsight on what this really is, because our foresight is going to be speculation at best, right, ladies and gentlemen? It is what it is. We all are speculating and wondering who Devin Haney is going to be. So Devin Haney is going to have his first fight at 147 pounds. It'll be for a WBO championship, and he's trying to put himself back into that pound-for-pound list, and he's got an opponent in front of him, and Brian Norman Jr. He's got a puncher, a new and upcoming out of the blue guy who was sitting in the shadows. Top Rank wasn't really betting on Brian Norman Jr. being what he is right now. Brian Norman had a fight with Giovanni Santillan as almost a stepping stone in the backyard of Giovanni Santillan as the next and upcoming guy who's going to be expected to be the one holding the WBO championship on the back of the end of Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence running the division, and Terrence Crawford making his move up to 154. We knew that Terrence Crawford was going to do his thing up there and probably vacate a bunch of the titles, and there was going to be a lot of champions elevated in that space, and Giovanni Santillan was one of those guys that was in that conversation. Brian Norman Jr. just coming off of a pedestrian performance against Boca Chica and got sat on his pockets and ultimately may have been saved by a cut, right, is what people would want to say, as Boca Chica seemed to have his number in that fight. And he just seemed like somebody who just didn't meet the moment. You know, just once Brian Norman Jr. stepped into the professional space and jumped into getting those big 8 to 10 round fights with Top Rank, he was running into a bunch of unanimous decisions, but victories nonetheless, not defeats. You know, listen, this boxing space can be mean at times, and sometimes a defeat, you know what I mean, you don't have to lose in the ring to be considered a loser. I mean, we saw what happened with Jerome Boots Ennis, you know, on the back end of victories over stoppage of David Avanesians, victories over Karen, victories over Stanionis. What are everybody saying? He still gets so much criticism about those fights that, you know, people have a hard time giving him his proper accolades at 154. So same thing goes with Brian Norman Jr. As we saw a fighter developing and finding his way, he made some moves. He made some moves with his trainers. He moved things around. His father, Brian Norman Sr., came up on the social media scene and has been shaking up the scene for a minute now, dealing with it. We saw a messy public negotiation between him and Jerome Boots Ennis and that team and trying to put that fight together. And Brian Norman Jr. has just grown on people over the past year and a half. He defeats Giovanni Santillan in a fight of the year, performance of the year, performance by Brian Norman Jr., and he becomes a champion out of nowhere. But was this guy a hype job? Was he about to get debunked? Was he just there at the right time? Did he catch a Giovanni Santillan that just wasn't focused? Who is Brian Norman Jr.? Well, he has another fight against Derek Cuevas, and he stops him early, gets him out of there, man, on the back of a jab. And it's like, okay, well, this kid is delivering on an undercard on a Michaela Mayer undercard, still not that guy. Who is Brian Norman Jr.? Senior fighting for millions of dollars for Brian Norman Jr., who's just gotten about $150,000 to $200,000 for his title fight. He's asking for millions. He seems to be pricing. Who is Brian Norman Jr.? Then he gets a fight with Jin Sasaki and has a knockout of the year performance against Jin Sasaki. But who's Jin Sasaki? Who is Jin Sasaki? And is that going to be some litmus test for us to say that Brian Norman Jr. has arrived? You guys can make your own personal opinions about how you look at that. But at the end of the day, just wanted to lay out the facts about what we're looking at as we're going into this fight here. We're watching Devin Haney coming into this fight, trying to prove himself to be a better fighter than he ever was. He's going to answer a lot of questions for us. Was the weight cut the issue? Is that what the punch resistance issue was about? Is he mentally over the Ryan Garcia situation? We know what he brings to the table as far as a pedigree in boxing is concerned. But now we have to find out if that thing that Teddy Atlas, if that thing that most boxing pundits in the space talk about, the 70 to 80% reality of physically you can be gifted and skilled, but this sport is 70 to 80% mental and 30 to 20% physical. And the mental aspect is going to play. That's going to be the big intangible in this fight right here. And then it's going to be about whether or not what was holding Devin Haney back in that fight with Ryan Garcia was his weight cut, or is he really just not ready to get punched on like that? And he's got an athletic fighter in front of him in Brian Norman Jr., who has a lot of questions to be answered for himself, because those fights, those guys were walking up to him. He was framing them, setting them up, and walking them into their own demise. Some people consider that to be real easy, but none of those fights are similar to Devin Haney's style. This Devin Haney style is going to be a revisit to a Quentin Randall fight potentially, but put that up like times 10. Or at least a times 5, right? What Devin Haney brings to the table as far as boxing pedigree is concerned. But then there's timing. Timing is everything in boxing as well, man. Momentum. Is it Brian Norman Jr.'s time? Have the stars lined up for him? As Brian Norman Jr. campaign that Brian Norman Jr. is much more than a puncher. He's a boxer is what they're saying. He started boxing at a young age just like Devin Haney. He boxed in Mexico just like Devin Haney did. He brings amateur records and things of that nature just like Devin Haney did. He just didn't get the opportunity to show and prove who he was. He didn't have a Floyd Mayweather co-signing or Floyd Mayweather Sr. co-signing him. He didn't have a Bill Haney pushing for him on every platform, screaming his name out. He didn't have that. So now he gets an opportunity because Turki Al-Sheikh has provided an opportunity for Devin Haney for the redemption. Devin Haney was this close to being on Black Prime, right? And he almost lost everything on the back end of that Ryan Garcia situation with the Austrian and him suing Ryan Garcia and everything. His stock just went down so much, and he gets another opportunity. This may be his last opportunity to really make it happen, get to the money, and also get inside of the history books and cement his legacy as one of the best to do it in this era. And Brian Norman Jr. has different plans. So the question is, where does this fight go? Guys, I've been going up and down with this fight all the way to last night, still up and down with it. Shout out to Johnny at the Hangout. I sent you my pick on Instagram, but even as the night was going, as I was thinking about it, I was still going back and forth. What I sent to you may not necessarily be what it is right now, Johnny, if you out there. It's really a lot on the line right now. I need to see the face-off today, guys. I needed to see the weigh-in, and I needed to see the face-off. I needed one last opportunity to watch these guys look into each other's eyes and find out who really wants it and who wants it the most. And guys, they didn't make it easy for me. Devin Haney looked dialed in. Yesterday, when we saw them at their face-off, he was jumping around. It was like, well, where's his mind at? Is this a show of confidence? Is he concerned? Is he anxious? Is he nervous? Is he scared? Is he putting on a facade? Is this really how he feels? Is he that confident? Or does he try to compensate and cover for something? I don't know. You can't never get in these guys' heads, but you can only speculate and try to read it for what it is. And from the outside looking in, where am I at with it at this point? You know, I expect to see the best Devin Haney that we've seen in the longest time. What I saw and what I assessed from Devin Haney is that it's like jumping into the deep side of the pool. You've been playing with it. You learned how to swim. You know how to swim. But guys, you ever jump into a 30-foot deep pool? I have. I was in the military and Navy, and it was a pool that we had to jump in. We had to what's the word they use for it? Simulate jumping off of a ship that was on fire, right? If the ship was on fire, you had to jump off the ship, and it was a 30-foot drop. I mean, I don't know how, it wasn't 30 foot, it was way more than 30 feet, but it was a 30-foot deep pool. It was high. I mean, super high, right? I mean, scary to jump all the way off of there into the water. And once you hit that water, you had all these things you had to do. You had to tread water. You had to take your clothes off. You had to make a flotation device. You had to do all these things as you're jumping into the water with boots on, and that it was just crazy, right? But I remember that feeling when I over and I looked over the edge and I looked into that deep blue. If you ever seen 30-foot deep pool, it's got this deep blue color. because it gets so dark towards the bottom of it, and you start to think about so much before you make that jump. And you might get yourself going. You might jump around, clap it up. The people around you might motivate you. Let's go. Let's go. I'm not going to give you my realistic. Let's go, Claymore. You got this, Claymore. You popping around. You like, yeah, I got this. I'm going to make it. Come on, Claymore. You already know, man. Don't even think about it. Don't look down. Don't look down. Just look straight out, bro, and step off. Just step off. I didn't look down on that one, but I did it a second time. Let me tell you something. When you look down, it becomes even more real. When you look down, you realize why they were telling you not to look down, right? You look down, you're like, oh, that's why they say don't look down. This is crazy. This is crazy. But bottom line is, at some point or another, you have to come to a point where you make a decision. Are you going to jump or not? Because you don't have to. Nobody's going to push you off of there. You're just going to fail, be somebody who couldn't do it. And, you know, you're not going to be cut from that cloth, right? But you'll live your life. You'll move forward in life. You'll think about it. It can be a nightmare for you, but you don't got to jump. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, look, needless to say, I jumped. And when I see Devin Haney dealing with this whole situation with Ryan Garcia, I feel like this is the deep end of the pool for him. This is the 30-foot deep pool. This is the 100-foot drop, whatever, how high the drop was that I did. And he has to make a decision, and he has to think about everything he did to get to this point, everything he sacrificed. He has to think about everything he put in to training. He has to think about all the belief that his father put into him, that he has to go back to think about what Floyd Sr. told him back in the day when he was an up-and-coming prospect, when he was 17 years old and they were calling him the next Floyd, when they were calling him the next guy to do it. He has to think about those sparring sessions he had in the ring with Gervonta Tank Davis and those middleweights that we've heard rumors and urban legends about, and how everybody was like, you look great, champ. What Shane Mosley was telling him in the preparation of Jose Ramirez, and what everybody on the outside saw in him when they were telling the world that he was going to stop Jose Ramirez, that he was going to be the next Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah, we building this up, man, because Devin Haney has a lot to think about, and he's had a lot on his mind, and he has a lot to lose, but a lot more to gain if he can challenge his fears and really execute on what he's wanted to do his whole entire life. And here's the big stage. What's Devin Haney going to do? Well, guys, I think Devin Haney's going to put it all on the line tomorrow. I think he's going to go for it. I think he's going to take risk. I think he's going to mix it up with one of the biggest, if not the biggest puncher in the welterweight division. And I think he's going to give himself the best chance at changing history, or redeeming or fixing, not changing history, but putting some perspective on what happened with Ryan Garcia. I think he got distracted for a moment in his career, and he became focused on the money so much that he got caught up in a situation where he allowed the facade and the propaganda behind the Ryan Garcia situation to take control over his mind, and he got sucked into that universe, and he learned a horrible but valuable lesson on the back end of that. And I think tomorrow he puts it all out there and he takes risk. Brian Norman Jr., on the other hand, gets an opportunity as well, because he's young, 24 years old, man. He's in his prime, and he's learning, and he's learned a lot in the past 4 or 5 fights he's had. He's learned a lot about himself. He's learned a lot about what he can do when he puts his mind to it. He's learned a lot about patience. He's got a lot of maturity about him, and he's going to get a chance to show out and put all of his last 4 fights, but his whole career from the time he started, from watching his father box at 7 years old to getting into boxing himself to deciding to become a professional fighter and get to this point right here. And he had to have thought in his mind that his career was about to be off track a little bit. He was going to have to take a couple of steps back and take a couple of steps forward, and he got blessed, and he had those performances, and here he gets an opportunity to be in the ring with a former undisputed champion, a Ring Magazine champion, with a lot of attention on the biggest stage, and he's dealt with it like a champ, and he's punching hard, and you've seen his sparring, man. He's athletic, he's moving around, he's light on his toes, his hands are quick. He understands what he has in front of him in Devin Haney. So who wins the fight? Whew. I'm going to go with this one, man. This is a 50-50 fight, man. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think timing is everything. I think styles make fights. I think we see the best Devin Haney we've seen in the longest time. I think Devin Haney gives it all the way up. But I'm be honest with you guys. I got Brian Norman Jr. winning this fight. Call it a hunch. I think it's his time. I think it really is his time to be a champion. And I think he's part of the new school. I think he's part of the changing of the guard. He's part of the new fighters who are going to be leading the way in Abdullah Mason and Xander Zayas and Moses Atalma. He's part of that. He's part of that of that crew. I think we're going to see the best Devin Haney we ever seen. I think this fight is going to be real competitive. But at the end, when it's all said and done, I got Brian Norman Jr. squeezing this one out, maybe even by a corner stoppage. It may get savage in there because Devin is going to be available. Devin's going to move, but he's going to fight. And I think when it comes down to that fight, I think that's where Brian Norman excels at. I think the fight is on Brian Norman's side. And the boxing match is easy for Devin Haney to win this fight and just move and do those things. But I think at some point or another, Devin Haney is going to bet on Debo Dev. I think he's going to bet on Debo Dev. And unfortunately, that might be his undoing because I think the reality is Brian Norman Jr. is Debo in this fight. Right? That's what I think it's going to be, man. So let's see what happens, man. I'm going with Brian Norman Jr. for the win on this one. Squeeze it out. I won't be shocked to see Devin Haney win it, though, because it's that kind of fight. But I just think it might be Brian Norman Jr.'s time. But I'm excited to see Devin Haney. I'm excited to see Devin Haney show out and fight and do what he's done back in the day. And I'm excited to see him be confident about it and bet on himself. And I do believe that he's betting on himself. I believe that he's bought in, that him and Bill, I think Bill's going to unleash the Kraken. He's going to take the ropes off of him, and he's going to allow Devin to do everything that he did in his training camps. I think we're going to see him do that, man. But I think the timing is, I think it's Brian Norman Jr.'s time, man. Don't hate me for it. You know, and I'll be happy to see Devin win tomorrow. If he wins tomorrow, man, I'll be excited, man. I'm happy to call those fights because I know those fights are going to be I know it's going to be a crazy fight, man. But you're asking for my real honest opinion. That's where I'm at with it, man. I do think that that Brian Norman squeezed this one out, but this is going to be a crazy fight because I think we're going to see a Devin that we haven't seen, man. I think we're going to see a Devin that we haven't seen in a long time, and I think it's going to be interesting. And don't be shocked. Brian Norman Jr. might even get sound in his pockets on this fight, right? I definitely think Devin Haney's going to get sound in his pockets at some point in this fight as well. But I think it's going to go all out. When it's all said and done, I think Brian Norman Jr. squeezes out. So let's go into the next fight. David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. This one here for the WBC light heavyweight champion of the world and the regular WBA champion of the world. David Benavidez has been on his own journey to get to this point, ladies and gentlemen. We know him as the monster. We remember what he did at 168 pounds. They were calling him a weight bully. He was dominating everybody at the super middleweight division, and there was one guy in the crosshairs of his legacy being what it needed to be in Canelo Alvarez, who held all the belts in that division. He was an undisputed super middleweight champion, and David Benavidez looked like he just couldn't get a chance. Nobody wanted to give him a hand. Mauricio Suleiman didn't have the testicular fortitude to hold Canelo Alvarez accountable and give David Benavidez his mandatory shot at becoming a champion. And what was David Benavidez going to do? David Benavidez took control of his career. Ladies and gentlemen, we've watched David Benavidez mature in his career over the past year and a half, 2 years. We watch him move himself up to the light heavyweight division. We watched him fight against all odds against Alexander Boznik. And when I say all odds, I'm saying that because if you knew what I knew, David Benavidez went into that fight with a lot of issues, hand issues, eye injuries. He had a lot of injuries and ailments that really were in his way. And he was up against Alexander Boznik at the time, who had the experience of fighting a better Biev, potentially was the best fight better Biev ever had as a light heavyweight until he fought Dmitry Bivol, of course, and it was the only loss on his record, but still an inactive Alexander Boznik, but he still was able to show out on his skills. The power didn't translate in that fight, but he was able to still, in a unanimous decision, in my opinion, I really feel like he dominated him with his hand speed. He was able to let his hands go and fight through the pain. Then we saw him get out of a fight with Jesse Hart because Jesse Hart wasn't who people were asking for, and he made a decision at some point to stop it with all these, padding my record victories and cherry picking and building me up and making it easier for you, but in fights that were doing nothing for me as far as my legacy was concerned. And we saw him take his career, just like we saw Errol Spence take control of his career and make that fight happen with Terrence Crawford, right? Just like we've seen a lot of fighters, some fighters who've done that. Only special ones do that, right? Who don't allow their handlers to get in the way of their own greatness. And David Benavidez showed out against David Morrell. But once again, a fighter who was pulled up from the light heavyweight division, from the super middleweight division up to the light heavyweight division, and a fighter who didn't necessarily have the experiences. I think David Morrell went to that fight like 10-0, 11-0, or something like that. It is what it is, right? But he performed great and had a fight of the year and really almost took the world by storm at that point on the back end of that David Morrell fight, because this is the first time in a long time we started to talk about David Benavidez potentially being a face of boxing, right? Being a draw, being the next guy, as the PBC was going through their transition of coming from Showtime and working with Amazon and trying to figure out how they were going to approach it. David Benavidez was finally on the big stage, and a lot was expected of him. He takes that win from David Morrell, and he takes David Morrell's regular WBA title. He takes his interim WBC title that he got from the Bosniak fight. And what was going to be next for David Benavidez in the light heavyweight division? How was he going to make these fights happen with Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev? And what was going to happen? What was the PBC going to provide to him? And if you guys watch my lives, I've always talked about how David Benavidez probably was going to have to move on from the PBC. Just didn't see what the PBC was going to be able to do for him as far as providing with those opportunities. Turki Al-Sheikh reaches out, invites David Benavidez to Saudi Arabia to come watch Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev fight their second fight. And what ends up happening was crazy, because for some reason, David Benavidez gets up and leaves in the middle of everything, and the fight's not getting made. He goes back to the States, and what's circulating is that, he's not longer interested in fighting that fight that way. Mauricio Suleiman's decided he's going to put the pressure on Dmitry Bivol. They strip Dmitry Bivol in an ugly, horrible way, take his WBC title from him. They elevate David Benavidez to become a WBC champion. It was just weird and awkward as Samson Leakowicz was doing interviews talking about all types of, just dismissing and going against the grain. And you just got me, I got a little discouraged, because I'm like, here we go. David Benavidez is about to be on the outside looking in. Where he needs to be, he's not going to be because of the politics of boxing. But look, David Benavidez took his career back. He took the control of his career back. And he said, listen, we're not going to move like that. I appreciate everything you've done for me, Al. I appreciate everything you've done for me, Samson, but I got to be my own man. We watched David Benavidez separate from his father for a little bit. People didn't know in the background that David Benavidez and his father weren't on the same page, as David Benavidez moved to Miami to be a father and to be his own man in his career. And his father stayed on the West Coast as he was managing fighters like Diego Pacheco and Rayo Venezuela and things of that nature. And there was a separation there as David Benavidez was maturing and growing into his next chapter, and understanding that he had to be a needle mover, because he was a fighter who had a lot of high risk, and most fights didn't want to get in the ring with him, and he was going to have to do whatever he had to do to make the biggest fights happen. And as he considered that and thought about that, we get this announcement that he's going to be headlining a Riyadh season card. He's rekindled and fixed whatever needs to be fixed. He's mended his relationship with his father. His father's let go of Diego Pacheco, right? Or Diego Pacheco has moved away from it, and now they're back together. He's working with Turki. You're hearing about a multiple fight deal with Turki Al-Sheikh. You're hearing the plans he has on fighting the winner of Dmitry Bivol, Artur Beterbiev, or even fighting directly with Dmitry Bivol. You're hearing his plans of going up to the cruiserweight division and fighting Zurdo Ramirez to become a cruiserweight unified champion, even fighting Jai Opatai. You're even hearing of him talking about going to the heavyweight division at some point in his career. And if you're a David Benavidez fan, you're excited about what you're hearing from David Benavidez. It's his time. But one fight at a time, because his next fight that he has in front of him is a light heavyweight power puncher. Probably one of the hardest punchers in the division outside of the usual suspects, right? Artur Beterbiev. A fighter who has experience, who's been in the ring with Artur Beterbiev and has hurt Artur Beterbiev. He's been in the ring with a Kovalev. He's got that experience, but he's a late bloomer. As Anthony Yardy, I don't believe really started boxing in a real way until he was like 17, 18 years old, right? So yeah, seen 17 years old, somewhere in that range, right? Late bloomer. So he's not there with his pedigree, but he's a puncher. And he's the biggest puncher that David Benavidez has been in the ring with. And we haven't seen David Benavidez's power translate into the light heavyweight division yet. We've seen his hand speed, we've seen his pressure translate, and we know that fighters are going to have a hard time dealing with that. But in all reality, his biggest experience he's had in the light heavyweight division was probably against Alexander Voznik, a fighter who wasn't active. And a fight with David Morrell, that was a great fight, but David Morrell wasn't a natural light heavyweight. He was coming up from the super middleweight division and just didn't have that experience that he needed to compete with the David Benavidez, who had been in the ring with the Caleb Plant, who'd been in the ring with a Boo Boo Andrade, right? Who've been in the ring with plenty of fighters who had way more pedigree than a David Morrell. So a great victory on paper to a degree, a great victory on the eye test, not even on paper, right? On the eye test, just giving David Morrell the respect that we gave to him, we understood that that was a great victory for David Benavidez. But did it show who David Benavidez was, as we're looking for the monster to show up? And we haven't seen the monster in the light heavyweight division. We just seen David Benavidez, a skilled fighter. And this is another chapter potentially in David Benavidez's career, because if the power doesn't truly translate the way it did at 168, then we're about to watch David Benavidez show us that he has a lot of wrinkles to his game, that his boxing is high level, that the cerebral energy he brings to the fight, his thinking ability, and his ability to put together strategies and things of that nature is going to be on the big stage tomorrow, potentially, against an Anthony Yarde, who's not necessarily the highest in the pedigree, but is a super athlete, super competitive, and a hard puncher. And how is David Benavidez going to meet this situation? On the other side of the conversation, ladies and gentlemen, let's get the likes up for real. I hear 66 people in the building. Let's definitely get the likes up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it. Get the likes up. I know I'm mesmerizing you guys with my soliloquy. And I'm going to be long-winded for this one. I told you guys I'm working on the long-winded thing, but this card deserves some long-winded energy, because I want to put everything on the table and then give you the pick and tell you why I gave you the pick. But David Benavidez is going to have to do what he has to do tomorrow. And Anthony Yarde, this may be his last chance, his last opportunity at making this all count. He's going to put it all out on the line, ladies and gentlemen. He went through a choppy issue with negotiations with managers, and he was looking for a home, and we didn't know where he was going to be at this point either. That's a whole nother story. At the end of the day, he's back. He's had his fights. I think his last fight might have been against Lyndon B. Arthur. A trilogy, I think it ended up being with those guys, and it ended the way it was. And we saw his hand speed. We know that he has the experience of being in there with the high-level fighters, and we got to see what that translates like into the fight tomorrow in the main event. Going into it, I'm going to tell you guys, I got David Benavidez winning this fight. I do think that the pressure, and I think David Benavidez is a lot better a boxer. I think he understands that. He looked great at the weigh-ins. He said he said that the weight cut was easy for him. Ever since the David Morrell fight, he seems like he didn't stop training. He seems like he's staying on his training. He's living a clean lifestyle. That was another thing that was holding him back, right? Was with the recreational activities outside the ring. Looks like he has that under control. He has all the motivation he needs. He has his father back on his team. He's watching his son, as David Benavidez is training in the gym, you're hearing the son in the background, right? Trying to mimic his father. That's got to be motivating. He just had a daughter as well. Looks like everything is in the right place for David Benavidez. He looks like he's one with his faith. His connection with God seems to be solid, and I think it's his time. But I do think it's going to be a dangerous fight. If there isn't an upset on this card, I'm going to let you guys know right now, I think this is the one where the upset is possible. However you look at with the Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. fight, I don't think there's going to be any upsets in that fight. I just think there's going to be a winner. I think the best man's just going to win that night. I don't think it's going to be an upset. Some people may feel an upset if they see Devin Haney get knocked out, or maybe, Brian Norman Jr. Get stopped, or maybe that's considered an upset. I don't consider that an upset. I think that's just the best man winning. This fight right here is the one that's lined up where the upset is there, because Anthony Yarde really on paper should not beat David Benavidez. But the reality is that the intangible is the power that Anthony Yarde brings to the table. And David Benavidez is going to have to make some decisions in this fight and may have to make some adjustments. If Anthony Yarde is able to connect with enough power shots, we might see David Benavidez hurt for the first time, and we have to see him recover from that and also still win this fight. But I still got him doing it. I got David Benavidez winning this fight. I think he drowns Anthony Yarde out. And listen, man, I don't think he's going to stop him. I'm be real with you. because I think Anthony Yardy's got a heart of a lion. And at the end of the day, he's just not there to be stopped, but he's probably going to get dominated. If there is a stoppage in the fight, it would be a corner stoppage, probably from Anthony Yardy's side. But worst case scenario, this is going to go to the cards, and I think it's going to be a unanimous decision for David Benavidez. And those are my picks, ladies and gentlemen. Take it for what it is. I have David Benavidez with a unanimous decision over Anthony Yardy. I've got Brian Norman Jr. Squeezing out a victory with Devin Haney, potentially a corner stoppage on that one. But I got Brian Norman Jr. winning that one. I've got Jesse Bam Rodriguez potentially stealing the show with a performance of the night against a very motivated, great dance partner, Fernando Puma Martinez. And I've got Abdullah Mason stepping up to the table and showing that he's special and ushering a new era into the boxing space. I think we're going to watch a changing of the guard tomorrow night potentially, as I'm looking for the up and coming guys to show out. I'm looking for Abdullah Mason to show out, and I'm looking for Brian Norman Jr. to stand out. And more importantly, I'm looking at one of the best cards that we've seen in a long time in boxing. Best cards. I think the fight of the year is probably going to come off this card, right? And when we think of the fight of the year, we're thinking about Chris Eubank, Conor Benoit. We're thinking about Christian Mbili and Lester Martinez, right? When we think about fight of the year, those conversations. But I think the fight of the year potentially comes off of this card. I think we're going to have a lot of fight of the year candidates on this card, but I think the legitimate fight of the year will be on this card tomorrow. And I'm not going to miss it for nobody. And I'm assuming you guys aren't going to miss it. You guys make sure you catch me as well. I'll be calling the fights here tomorrow. I'll be covering them all day long. If you guys ever see me call these fights, I have a good time, and we all have a good time doing it. I was actually thinking about doing something else, but I'm going to keep that off of the waves right now because I might reach out to somebody. I might do a live with somebody. I ain't going to lie. I might do it that way as well. I don't know yet. Don't quote me on that, man. I got a lot of stuff going on right now. I don't want to make those type of decisions over here on the internet. But I'm definitely calling the fights one way or another. Look out for the thumbnail one way or another. This is going to be a crazy night of boxing, man. One of the best nights of boxing we've had in the longest times, man. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. You know what? I've got 30 minutes. Guys, hit the like button. Hit the like button, man. Let's get the likes up on this stream right here. I appreciate all the support. Let's get the likes up. Let's get them up. We're at 70 people, somewhere around 70 people in the building. Let's get the likes up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it. I'm going to put the link out if anybody wants to come up and share what their picks are. Feel free to do it, man. Listen, man, I ain't going to push back because I understand, man, at the end of the day, this card is a 50-50 card, man. There's a lot of reasons, and listen, man, I understand, man. I gave my picks, man. They weren't easy. I was up in the air about it, man, especially on that Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. fight. Clearly, that one right there took a lot in me, man, because you guys know I appreciate and I celebrate that sweet science, man. But I do think there's a layer and there's a layer and a wrinkle to Brian Norman Jr.'s game that we haven't seen yet. And I get it, right? You can't call it until you see it. But I think we're going to see it tomorrow, man. I just think it is what it is, man. I think it is what it is. Hold on right here. I got my brother in the building. My brother Reyes Boxing in the building. I know him as Angelo. Y'all know him as all that shit. But he's just Angelo to me. Salute to my guy. What's good, Angelo?
Hey, man.
I'm giving everybody your government. I'm giving everybody your government and shit. Now everybody know your damn name. I'm just messy, ain't I, Angelo? I'm messy, man. I'm just fucking messy, bro.
No, I was actually gonna say. Now, again, all criticisms are always well taken, and you've always been really great with that, Clay. But I don't know who told you that you doing your long-winded soliloquy is a bad thing, because that's one of the things I've always enjoyed about it is the poetry you'll put into it, the off-the-cuff things that come off your head. But man, you're a grown-ass man. You'll make your own decision. But me personally, I do like the long soliloquy as much as some people like Johnny might mess with you about it or whatnot. And I thought it was fun how everybody's waiting for your picks. Obviously, the Haney and Norman one was the 50-50, which I knew already last night when we were at the hangout spot. It's like, man, you already know what he's picking, right? But what I like about it is you are speaking to the general public if they're listening to this on a replay or if they're listening to it right now live. I think it needs to be said more that Devin Haney is coming here to protect something.
Mm-hmm.
So he just like what you had said in your soliloquy, right? Where maybe again what makes this fight so fun. And I was just at the casino to check the odds. Unfortunately, guys, it sucks. It's minus 110 for each guy. So it's like I'm winning no money here. This is stupid, right? I'm not. I guess I'll have to wait till tomorrow.
But it's accurate, man. I understand what they're seeing, man. It's hard. Listen, man, and like Vegas, and that's one thing you gotta love, right, Angelo, is that Riyadh season makes these matches, man. They really are great at the matchmaking, and welcome to the future of boxing, man, because there's no absolute anything in this fight. And what you were looking for was for some stupid motherfucker over there to sleep on somebody and take advantage of them. But the reality is that they're realizing, like, they probably lost a lot of money in boxing since this has started, as people have probably been making a lot of picks and Vegas has been wrong on some of these picks, you know what I'm saying? And people have been taking advantage, and they're getting a little bit more smart on this one, and they're doing their tapes. They're studying the tape a little bit closer, and you're seeing it come out in the odds here in Vegas. But go ahead, man. I got all the middle.
Yeah, no. And to your point, right, when you were speaking about Haney and the Garcia fight, that's a fight where I remember I went to the casino, and there's different ways to bet it. But one of the ways you could bet it is he will win by the end. Like, you know, so it's weird. It's like you could do straight money line win, but for some reason, if you say, hey, he's going to win at the very end of a decision, the odds go up higher, right? Or for you. And at that time, I remember Ryan Garcia started at plus 1,400, bro. And then the day of, it was plus 1,100. Right. And at that point, it's like, you know, I mean, I guess you guys are thinking either somebody's going to get knocked out or Devin Haney's just going to kill this guy, but you can't give these odds without some people putting in somebody. Plus 1,100 is ridiculous. So I put a little something in, and suffice to say I won, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You just don't know. Like, you can't do that. And I say this because, like what you were talking about with Yard, right? Currently, right now, it's plus 900. Now, again, like you said, if there was going to be an upset, it could be Yard. So there may be some people that'll put some money in Yard. Personally, for me, after looking at that weigh-ins, I'm sticking to my exact pick. I believe that David Benavidez didn't really have a problem with making weight.
Me too.
Although you can see clearly that Yard looks like he's 175.
But I think people are so used to seeing David Benavidez not look the way he's looking, because I understand he looks different. He looks slimmer, but I think people think that he did that in an unhealthy way. They're not realizing that he's just been taking his journey in the light heavyweight division that serious, and that he's just really worked for the way he looks. He didn't do an extreme weight cut. He's actually in great shape. That's what I believe we saw in David Benavidez.
Yeah. And again, guys, just remember, David Benavidez is 28 years old. Okay. Anthony Yard is 35 years old. So just know the age, right? Anthony Yard, though, for real, looked like what we've always said he was. He's a for real 175. You could see it in his muscles and his body. I think that what's going to be fun about this, and I've said it to you before, Clay, and I'll continue to say it, this is the time we're going to see David Benavidez. Can he truly handle 175? And has his boxing skills really grown? And I think it has. So that's why I picked him for decision win.
No doubt. No doubt. Salute, man. Yo, I got two of my guys on here. This panel right here is a good one, man. We only up here for a short time, for a good time, not a long time. I got things to do today, but I wanted to open it up. And shout out to my guy, Round One Sports, who's been doing his thing. I've been watching Round One from a distance, right? I'm watching my guy from a distance, because kind of watching is just like Round One's doing his thing, man. Very passionate about the sport of boxing, man. Another guy who they've said is long-winded at times. Fellow long-winded guy, right? We just can't help it, Round One. We just love the sport like that.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, man. Shout out to Round One Sports, and of course my guy, my co-host Ray Davis in the building. Ray, what's good? I gave my picks, and I'm dying to hear what you guys think about the picks. But more importantly, I want to know about what you guys' picks are, right? Yeah. This one right here is, listen, man, Turkey's done a lot of things. We've held Turkey accountable for his recent activity, but this one right here is the reason why we wanted Turkey in the game, right? This is one of those moments we celebrate Turkey. This is what it's all about with Turkey, is these kind of cards, right? Like no matter how we want to think about the decisions he's made with the zone and the tier package, and maybe he's, you know, things he did confronting Canelo. He has a list of things that he's done, weird things that clearly he's a privileged man who's not used to dealing with the adversity he's faced in boxing. But at the end of the day, this one right here is one of the ones where you're like, that's why this is the reason why we need Turkey in the game. This card right here, 50-50 matchups, great fights. I'm not sure how easy it was for you guys to make the decision. It was difficult for me, especially with this Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. one. But I'm super interested in what you guys have come up with. What do you think about it, round one? And we'll start with you.
It was very simple for me. It was an easy card to pick.
Okay.
I picked all the Americans to win.
All right.
And that's why we love round one, right? That's why we love round one, right? That's what we're here for.
Best thing you're doing. Good job. Good, listen.
That's it.
Salute to that.
Hey, round one. Can I just compliment you? I love the steak throwing punches on the top right corner.
That's nobody seems to get this, but steak is beef. That's boxing beef.
Oh, that's
what I'm saying?
cool. Okay, got
Steak.
it.
It's made of beef. It's got boxing blood, boxing beef.
That's cool.
People be like, "What's a pork chop?" I'm like, "Dude,
You know what it is?
not figure that out." Like,
it's never what's in front of us, bro. We always got to look.
Right.
We always trying to find the philosophy behind it, and we just can't call it the way we see it. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's a steak, boxing beef. That's it.
Right.
You
No
know.
doubt.
But I say that humbly. I got the Americans because Benavidez has an American flag. He represents America. I got him in the fight against Yard. Both American fighters, Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., whichever man wins, I got the American in that fight. I also got the American in Abdullah Mason versus Sam Notes, which is Abdullah Mason. And I also got the American in Jesse Bam Rodriguez against Puma.
Right.
You know, so I got that side like that. I like the matchups. Listen, Puma's not out of this by a long shot. He throws a lot of punches, but he's catered for the slick punching of Bam Bam Rodriguez and the counter punching. He's catered for that. You know how slick Bam is on the inside. You know, he loves guys that throws a lot of punches.
Oh, yeah.
So his style kind of caters for him to get his ass kicked, kind of handed to him by Bam. As far as Abdullah Mason, this is an even fight on many different levels because this is their both toughest fight. This is Sam Nose's toughest fight. This is Abdullah Mason's toughest fight. They're on the same level, and I love this fight for so many different ways because this is where these two young men can separate from one another, and we'll see the rise of another champion. You know, possibly the legacy of Abdullah Mason, the start of it. Okay. As far as Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney, I've flip-flopped many times on this.
Me too.
I've gone back and forth inside of my head. The best version I can clearly come up with is Devin Haney giving Brian Norman fits. I've seen Devin Haney deal with strong fighters like Regis Progress and power punchers, and I've seen him move around them. Now, I think that Brian Norman Jr. at some point in the fight is going to go down on the scorecards, and he's going to have to sell out. That's where he's his most dangerous. We all know that Devin Haney doesn't fight well going backwards, and I think that's where he could have success. I'm not sure if he's going to catch up to Devin Haney all night with that power. He's going to have to settle then, box Devin Haney, and try to create his opportunities. Might kind of like throw the punch without seeing it type shit. But may the best man win in that fight. I really don't have a winner or a loser. They're both winners in my eyes. And I love that they're competing and they're stepping in the ring to compete right now and put their O's on the line. It speaks to their pedigree. It speaks to later in life. They're going to be able to look back and say, I fought that man. I shared the ring with that man, with that warrior. Like that. And that's what I believe is important right now. And these young men and women that are coming up need to take notes to seeing two men fighting in their prime. And for one of the first times, Devin Haney's coming into the fight, the older fighter. Let's just remember that.
He's only
not the young guy anymore.
And the weight cut is not on the table this fight, right? Like it seems like we're past this chapter of these extreme weight cuts and all of that. It seems like we might see the first confident in his ability, you know,
Devin, yes.
matching with his physical abilities on the same page for Devin.
And as far as Devin Monster the David Benavidez fight, listen, guys, I'm gonna speak honestly right now. It's honest that I don't like that weight cut that the Monster did, because I see it differently. I see that being a problem. I see that his problem is coming to him in a different light. Get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that right there, that kind of weight cut, he's a fat boy that always worked out to try to stay skinny. He's never looked like that.
Right.
There's only one thing in the world I know that can take off that kind of weight and keep it off and have your chin sunken in. That white girl's a mother. And I'm going to tell you right now, right? I'm telling you, I've seen this in the boxing gym. And I've seen it. Never in my life do you get older and it becomes easier for you to cut weight. And you mean to tell me at the oldest you got, at the highest pinnacle, all of a sudden you're making weight like that? But yet your last fight, you did test positive. Let's just remember, just your last fight. How did you shake that problem? Now, I'm not pointing no fingers or making accusations, but I'm a little concerned for the man. Is his well-being, is his mental state all there? Can he take a punch? You know what they say. Too much partying. So all I'm saying is a lot of people are looking this, and I'm looking at it like, I just heard what happened in his last fight. And I know how he lost his belt and he got in this situation in the first place. And I heard Rick James say,
hell of a drug.
Hell of a one.
Oh,
You could ask Joseph Parker too.
Yo.
How'd you get off of that?
Yo.
So listen, I ain't coming, I'm just concerned. That's all. I'm not taking shots. I'm saying, young man, don't think that the world's not watching and there's not street people, street savvy, that can look at you and say, I've seen this before.
I mean, his eyes look normal, but
I
don't know about that. You know what I mean? But I have a feeling round one's talking with a little bit of experience here. I think I got a feeling he's seen some things that we haven't necessarily seen. I done seen some shit. Even last night, like we was on the hangout and I was talking to Johnny and I was talking to Coach Marcus, and it was so confident about what Brian Norman is going to do tomorrow against Devin Haney. And I said, there's a difference between you and us. The thing is, you guys have been in the gym. You've seen Brian Norman sparring. You've seen him working on all these things, and it's making you even more confident in what he can do, where we are really speculating and just trying to kind of figure it out. So ain't nothing like having that hands-on experience, being able to see these things in a different light. And I think what we're looking here with round one, I think we're looking at round one having an eye that we just don't have yet.
Listen, let me tell you something. A lot of us come from different parts of the world. We experience a lot of different things.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and some of it is not due to our part. We just born into it.
No,
right?
100%.
You know? So you gotta like navigate your way through it. Some of us don't come out of it. Some of us do. Right. But I tell you what, my thing is this: I don't really have a leg to stand on to say anything. All I know is what I've experienced through my life, and I've experienced men that have tried to get up here and say, "Oh, now that I'm 35 years old, I got stronger, faster, quicker, and I can hit the ball further."
Damn, yo.
Really?
It is what it is. It is. Salute to Round One Sports, man. Salute to Round One Sports, man. What a take, man. My guy, man. I keep telling you guys, this is my guy, bro. People don't like it. He really is my guy. Like, listen, and right off his spitting it the way he see it, man. Salute. My guy Ray Davis in the building, man. Ray, what's goody, man. So you heard my takes. I think, by the way, Ray, were you surprised at my takes at all? Did anyone throw you off?
Listen, let me tell you something. You obviously didn't watch the chat when you were picking, right? I wasn't. Listen, I told everybody in the chat, you buttering up biscuits and serving us dumplings, bro. Like, I don't even understand, bro. Like, how's that even possible? You know what I mean?
Listen, man, I wanted to build. I was working on a trailer, right? I wanted the movie. I think I did a good job, man. I
You
think
did a good job, Clay.
You did a
We're
good
just
job,
messing
man.
with you, man. You
I
did a good
I
job.
held out, man. I took my time. But listen, man. You know, my pick is my pick. But listen, man. I know this fight's gonna be great because I feel it in my stomach, right? As far as like the nerves, the same way I felt about Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? It was the nerves because there's so much imminent danger in this fight for Devin Haney. There's so much on the line. Brian Norman Jr. can legitimately be exposed. Devin Haney, if he can't get his footwork together, if he can't meet Devin Haney somewhere in the middle here and make this, he can really get embarrassed in this fight. So I know what's at stake here for both these fighters. I feel it for both of them. When I saw them do that stare down today, and I was like, I saw it for both of them. They both understood. You saw it on Devin's side. He just was like, and you seen on Brian, like it's so much on the line. So much shit has been talked. Brian Norman Sr.'s mother, who passed away, rest in peace, was talked about in this situation. Senior's been on a campaign. We saw what he went through with Ron Boots and his situation. He's been putting himself front line in front of everybody, confronting all naysayers. And of course, Bill Haney, you can tell how serious it is for that team because Bill has sat in the background and not been so active on social media. What do you think he's been doing? He's been getting his son ready because he knows it's do or die time. So I'm feeling it and it's making it even more exciting, but I had to make a pick, man. And I went in the direction I thought it was at, but man,
okay.
What do you think?
Right. Listen, man. All right, y'all heard my pick. It wasn't even a pick. It was a more of a gut feeling. And I'm telling you, Devin wins this fight. I like everything round one said. Everything he said. How he displayed the first couple of rounds. Devin's going to be on high energy. I am not taking nothing away from Brian Norman Jr., but experience. I'm only taking away that he's saying a lot of tough things. I'm going to break your meniscus. I'm going to have him carry you out the ring. Bro, I only got these 2 fists. He sounds like the bully in the classroom that he don't want nobody to mess with him. And if you come over here, I'm just going to break you in half. And it's crazy that when somebody does that, you talk about nervous energy, that's nervous energy. I'm trying to push back and get into your head to tell you that I'm going to beat you up so you're scared, right? At the same time, we got a guy that we always heard about. You mentioned this, Blue mentioned this, many people mentioned this. I've heard multiple people. Devin in the ring is a savage when it comes to sparring and it comes to camps and it comes to him just being there training. A savage. And that guy stated yesterday he's going to bring that energy into the ring with him. I've seen him do it before. I've seen him with the Linares fight and him standing there toe-to-toe, going there with a strong fighter. I've seen him going there, Jojo Diaz, and a strong toe-to-toe with a balanced fighter and being able to beat him up. Then I seen him actually do something different with Regis. I seen him able to sit there and make this guy fight the fight he wants him to fight and keep him at bay and hit him at will. Then I seen the dominance of what he did with Kambosos. Crazy. So he's showing different levels. Now, you want to talk about him moving on the back foot, whatever. He may do that from time to time. I mean, that's what boxers do, right? He may fall into a trend. He may get hit with something. Recovery is a bad thing, man. If you get hit, you got to recover. You got 2 things you're going to do. You're going to move backwards. You're going to hold on tight. So it's one or the other for Devin. So it is what it is. And then the same goes for Brian Norman. If Devin comes in there as strong as they say he is, or he says he is, actually his team, and he goes in there, he hits Brian with something. Does Brian hold on? Do we got to look for that? Or does he regroup and try to come out and just get looped up and get dropped again? So we have to really understand what this is about when it comes to this fight. It's definitely a 50-50 fight. I'm not taking – listen, I can go either way as well. I'm not on the fence. I am clearly leaning towards Devin, not because I'm a fan, because hey, I'm a fanboy Ray. Whatever. I'll take that. Whatever. But I'm taking it because I just seen something. I seen something, and Devin and Bill are strategists. When they sit there and they go in the ring and they see, hold on, time out real quick. I love this. Let's just go right here real quick, Clay. Pull this up. This last one, with Linares and Jojo Diaz. Please pull that up from Conky FG. Please pull that up. You know why I love that? Because you guys live on losses. Like, people can't lose. So what? They lost.
Wait, who is it? Conky?
Something.
Oh, Koki. Okay, that's correct.
That's okay. Right. That's the guy that delivered the drugs. Right? But look, it's funny that they say this, right? About people having losses on the record.
But let me read it at least.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Jojo Linares had losing records at 135, and they always been natural 126 pounders. Haney going toe-to-toe with them isn't a flex at that point of their careers. Prime Linares KOs Haney.
Okay. So they had losses, and you're thinking because they were at a smaller weight and they moved up. So we're saying the same thing here, right? So if Devin loses, you're telling me that Devin gets an excuse because he wasn't originally a 147 pounder. That's what he's saying? Or is he saying that these guys have a losing record, and because they had losses on their records, and that's the reason why Devin can't beat them up? That's kind of like an oxymoron. Either way you take it, you're either giving Devin credit or you're taking credit away from Brian Norman. Which one is it? Exactly.
I think at the
Oh,
end
I
of
know
the
what
day,
he's saying. But look,
yeah, I think what he not what he's saying. I ain't gonna say what he's saying, but I think
Yeah.
what it comes down to at the end of the day is no matter what both these guys have been through, it's all building blocks because what
Right.
matters is what happens tomorrow.
Right.
Styles make fights. The
Right.
difference between all those situations is Brian Norman Jr. He's
Right.
not Linares. He's not
Exactly.
Jojo Diaz. He's not those guys. And the difference between and another difference in this fight is Devin Haney. He's not down there at 135. He's not a weight bully. He's not rehydrating and having issues. He's not.
Exactly.
He has more experience. He's who he is with that experience in his arsenal now. He's a different fighter. He's an evolved fighter. He's not the same guy. So at the end of the day, the triangle theory is always such an interesting point of conversation. If you're looking for content and you're looking for conversation, the triangle theory is great.
Well, never in my
but
point.
hold on a second. But at the
those are finished. Go ahead.
but at the end of the day, it's the fight tomorrow.
Exactly.
Styles make fights.
Exactly.
And these two guys are in the ring. Brian Norman has his resume and the things that he's done and his shortcomings and his experience. And Devin Haney has his resume with the things he's done and the things he's been through in his experience. And we got to see who's going to win tomorrow when they get in the ring with each other.
And just to put this on the front line right now, let me put this on Front Street so that we're clear. This is not a comparison to the fighters that are fighting each other. This is a comparison to the fighters and what got them there. This is their resumes and things that tested them to get to this point and how they're going to make their attacks or things of that nature, right? Because I can easily say Brian Norman got beat up on by Quentin Randall. He got dropped by Boca Chica, right? That's the same thing. But does it matter what their records are? No, these are just comparisons and saying that, look, this is what they
can't lose against no Quentin Randall, though. You thought he lost it? You saw that fight and felt like he lost it?
I said he got beat up on.
He got beat up by, he said.
I said beat up on. He was getting jabbed a lot, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he was getting jabbed, but it was a unanimous decision.
So my point is that I'm making is that doesn't matter how it works in your camp or this camp or what side of the fence you stand on. I get that. The point is I'm making is that Devin has been through trial and tribulations in his ways of coming up to this fight, and I think that it was a staple point in his last two fights that he wants to get out of the people's heads. I think Brian Norman has something to prove. I think he has those same moments in his career where people just doubted him, and they continue to doubt him because he's a fresh name in the game. So I think with both of those being said and both of those things coming out, this is going to make for an exciting fight. We're going to see Debo Dev go into the pocket. We're going to see Debo Dev boxing at range, and we're going to see Debo Dev hitting with shots that we never seen him hit with before. Because I think, like you said, he's taking the fear out of it. He's going in there with the wrist this time. The chains are unleashed. Bill's letting him go fight, and the same thing for Brian Norman. I think Brian Norman Sr. has been preaching to the people, my son can box, y'all. He's not just a knockout puncher. Watch what my son does. He can cut off the ring. So I think we're going to see a different side. I've been saying this from day one. These guys are going to fight like the opposite of what they are to prove to everyone else who they are. And the person that has the weakest crossover is going to be the person that loses. And I think Brian Norman has the weakest crossover, trying to come in and be in a slick, around boxer, as opposed to a boxer puncher. I think Devin can adapt to being a boxer puncher because of the division he was in, and I think that's why we see Devin at the victory. All right, I'm
just like Shakur Stevenson did, right? Shakur Stevenson showed the world that he could stand in the pocket against William Cepeda when they were saying that all he did was cat and mouse and run. Right. And then all of a sudden, he stood right there in front of William Cepeda, one of the most valued punchers in the game. He has a Guinness World Record for throwing the most punches. Shakur stood right there and showed the world, I can bang with you and I can trade.
Exactly.
Hey,
Devin Haney shows that. Yes.
Hey, before I go, we do want to hear your other ones, like the other picks
Oh,
for
the other one you want to
Abdullah.
hear? Benavidez?
Yeah. You got to go
Oh,
across
yeah.
the board,
Oh yeah,
man.
let's do that. Okay, so the Benavidez fight, right? Which I love about this fight, I'm actually rocking with Benavidez. I agree with Clay. I think it's just because Benavidez is what you call the guy unlimited energy. I think he just has a passion of just keep going. He has this motor, and I think no matter what happens, he's done it from even with the weight. Right, going down to 165, he stayed there. He was able to deal with the weight or whatever, and deal what he had to do there. Moving up to 168, moving up to 175, he's able to probably do similar things. Right, he's taking a big risk on the weight cut, but he's done it before. Yes, he's getting older, but he's also heavier, so it kind of balances out, I think. And I think he's able to maintain the same spirit and energy. Now, what I do believe is that he moves to the back foot. I think he dominates with a jab and goes backwards to set up punches. And I believe if he does that, he's going to be reigning supreme successful. I think he's going to lure Yardy into a lot of shots. And I think Andre Yardy's going to definitely try to get the biggest shot off that he can. He's going to try to box, but obviously we can see the height difference and the reach difference. And that's going to be where the downfall is. And I think that's exactly what happens on that note, and I'm good with it, man. That's what I got. Benavidez, easy mark.
And then you already picked the Rodriguez one, and
salute to everybody in the building, man. 60 plus people in the building. Please make sure that you go on ahead and hit that like button. I don't know what the hype button is all about. I keep hearing about a hype button. If there's one in here and you see it, hit that button. I don't know where it's at, but hit it for me. Whatever. I'm hearing that. That's what y'all need to be doing. So hit the hype button wherever it's at. Hit that hype button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel. I got a question for Ray, though. Ray, so, I agree with you, by the way. Everything you said, right? And you already heard my pick, so we don't need to go into that. But if David Benavidez doesn't, is that the only way? In other words, can David Benavidez win this
going forward in this fight? Absolutely not. Danger zone.
Yeah.
Danger zone.
What about Abdullah Mason? Damn notes.
I mean, we can go to that fight. He didn't touch on that. He just touched on Bam, which I can go with the Bam Rodriguez fight. I think that's going to be a tough fight. I think what you said, Edwin, was perfect. You know what I mean? Puma's a high volume puncher, and he's a guy that punches hard with those shots. He's almost like he's not really flat footed. He's very athletic, and I think that's great, right? And we've seen Bam go down with the Estrada fight, right? Because he stood in the pocket with somebody that could throw a lot of punches, and he got caught off guard. Now, the problem I see is I didn't know Puma was that much smaller than Bam. And I don't think Bam has never been not the same height or shorter than everyone. So now he is a bigger fighter in this ring, and he's going to come in a lot bigger once that rehydration comes in, and he's going to have the opportunity to put this man out.
I think so.
I think it's going to be a nice check hook. He's going to kind of nail him with some punches inside, and when Puma starts moving around, he moves the wrong direction at the wrong time. Here comes that check hook. And it may even be a counter, whatever the case may be. He's going to land one, and Puma's going down, and you're going to see him like a baby with a big anyway. And he's going to be curled up on the mat.
He's going to be curled up, huh?
Curled up.
And then the Mason one?
Mason?
Right?
Oh, don't put me on the spot, man. I don't know, man.
Come on, man.
This is a true 50-50 fight out of all the fights.
Is this more 50-50 for you than Haney?
More than Haney, yes. Maybe
more
than Haney and
because of the level, right?
Yes, because Mason has never been on this level before. A lot of people don't understand who Sam Noakes is.
Sam Noakes is.
They don't know who he is. They don't know what he has accomplished. Sam Noakes is a very deceitful fighter. He's not as fast and athletic as Abdullah Mason, but he's patient, and I think patience wins wars. So I think with this fight, I think Sam Noakes has a really good chance of upsetting on this fight with the inexperience of Abdullah Mason, and we've seen him get knocked down and get out of his comfort zone and try to get that knockdown back in that other fight. And then he got knocked down again because he just was throwing wide hooks. Sam Noakes is very known for punching inside, sharp, clean shots. If Abdullah Mason, I think, is going to probably use his range, and maybe he takes it a little bit more. Oh, not to mention, Abdullah Mason I think he's never even been past the 6th round. So I don't even know how he feels with his endurance and how he goes.
I think that was one.
If that goes deep into the fight, that can easily be turned into Sam Noakes. I really don't have a winner in this fight. I'm probably going to lean towards Abdullah Mason because of like you said, USA, hometown hero. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I'll rock with that.
Once,
But it's definitely like a
one,
really close fight,
two.
and
Yeah.
for me to
Hey,
really
Ray,
just
if
say
you
No,
believe,
three times he's been past the 5th round. He's been to the 6th round 3 times.
Right.
That's how
Yeah.
he's ever gone up in 6 rounds.
and that's because he was trying to get rounds,
Yeah.
and that was after he'd been knocking everybody out. So he's used to stoppages, and when
Well,
you
no, that was definitely early. Like we're talking like 7th round, 7th fight in his career, and no, he had one. He had one in 2025. He had a 6
Sam
round.
Notes had 6 scheduled 12-round fights.
right,
Facts.
6.
Yeah.
that's a big
Yeah.
difference.
oh, he's got
And
the
he's gone the
experience. For sure.
distance.
So I would like
Yeah.
to see Abdullah Mason take this win, but like I said, this is a dangerous one, man. If he goes
Well,
into deep
Ray,
water,
Yeah,
let's see.
just so that you know, if you believe that in your heart of hearts, then it's plus 390 right now. So you might want to put a little money on Noakes if you truly believe that. You know, I was just at the casino checking out
that's
what
for
the odds are.
I don't even think he'll get the decision though. If that's the
Right.
case, I think they'll still get a decision.
So wait, who you going with in this one?
I will go with Mason. I think
Okay.
if by decision it'll be Mason. By early stoppage it'll be Mason. If Noakes runs into, so I don't think the speed's there for Noakes, just to say the least. Let me build on that. I don't think the speed is there for him. I think because of his lack of speed and athleticism, the angles that Mason's going to have is going to actually be what's his downfall for Sam Noakes. I think the footwork's there, the patience is there, but is the foot, the speed there? Is he going to be able to catch a lot of these punches? Is he going to be able to stop a lot of things and get out the way? If he moves out of one thing, does he get caught with something else? That's what we really have to look at, because Abdullah Mason is the younger, athletic, more faster fighter. Sam Noakes is definitely there to be hit for Abdullah Mason. The thing is, does Abdullah Mason have what it takes to go the distance? If he's slows the fight down, Sam Noakes slows the fight down, and it goes the difference. And Sam Noakes is definitely, you can tilt your hat to him maybe later at the end of the match, but I'm still going with Mason.
Yeah, I'm 100% on that page, and I'll give it back to you right now, round one, just to say that catch and shoot, punch in between punches, movement, Jesse Bam Rodriguez type of energy for Abdullah Mason to do what he needs to do, because Sam Noakes is going to bring that pressure. Sam Noakes is going to fight for the close range, mid-range opportunities. And if Abdullah can use that momentum to his advantage and on purpose set up a strategy to take advantage of that, he can become a superstar tomorrow night, because he has the dance partner that will give him the opportunity to set the American boxing scene on. He legitimately, in my opinion, can jump into face of American boxing conversations tomorrow with the right performance, because he has that kind of dance partner in front of him.
Right.
Hey, I was just going to tell you, Clay, the first time I kind of did this with this streaming software, but when I picked your thing, it was on the Restream. I have Restream. Remember, I told you about Restream.
Right, that's why I did it. Yeah.
Right. So now I connected. I'm actually live on my channel with you guys.
Right. I was telling
Right.
Ray about. Well, Ray was telling me about it actually, that he saw the feature. For sure.
Yeah. So now we're all like live on my channel, and there's some people that are texting in the chat too, just letting you know. And then and I'm this is the first time I'm using it, so I'm seeing how it's working, the software, and how it gives to both platforms. So if anything, you were talking about wanting to have to like a little fight party and talking about the fights and everything. I wouldn't mind doing it, because it'll be broadcasted on your platform and mine. You see, it depends on whichever one takes the lead. It's the same. It's going to be the same broadcast. Could have a fight party, and we can break down the fights as we see them. So yeah, it's just something that I just wanted to throw out there. I didn't want to break up the conversation, but I just happened to catch it on my thing, and it was like, oh shit, we are on my channel, and everything is streaming.
I do it every show, believe it or not.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all, man. I don't mind it at all. Because let me tell you something else about that when it comes to that, right? I feel like some people would have an issue with that, but I genuinely don't, because I'm also into this new era of content creation in the boxing space. And I believe that leaders of that conversation are going to be the people who really celebrate boxing. And I believe everybody on this panel celebrates boxing on a broad level. The
Welcome.
Boxing over people.
Yeah. The fanatic.
Welcome, Clay.
Over boxing.
The fanatic fanboy energy in the content creation space. I think it's a changing of the guard. I'm be honest with you. So shout out to all the guys who paved the way for us and inspired us to do things like this. But welcome to World Championship boxing coverage from content creators who watch boxing on that type of level. So I'm here to support a round one. That's why no matter what people say about round one, and I don't want to make it say it like that, but round one, you know what it is. And I'm sure they say crazy things about me. Shit. I'm a fan because I know where all that energy and long-windedness and all that shit is coming from, bro. And y'all just not used to boxing talk like that. It's cool. You'll get with it, bro, because there's not enough fanboy topics to cover as much as they used to be. You know what I'm saying? It's really about this boxing game. So welcome to the new world.
Well, before I go on my picks across the board, Clay, I will say, and I've always told you this, like what got you here is you stay to where you're at. And I like the long-windedness. I like the storytelling and all of that, right? I haven't heard too much of you yet round one, but I will start following and listening to it like Clay's talking about. At the end of the day, we've had this conversation before, Clay, that we want to try to make ATP where people could come to it that don't even know a lot about boxing, because there's too many channels that you were talking about, the old guard, right? And when there's too much fanaticism and whatnot, it actually makes the casual sports fan go, I don't want to listen to this because I don't know what's going on. So I'm not in this rumorville conversation. I don't know Tank's beating up women. This dude's taking cocaine. I have no idea. I literally just came in to try to find out who's going to win this fight. And they're talking about, people getting whooped on, cocaine. I don't want to hear none of it. I'm out. Right. So having the safe space and like you said, the other part is the sharing of it. Right. Just, like instead of not being able to say, oh yeah, you could run it on your channel. I think that's stupid. I think everybody should just be able, if you took the time to create your own channel, then it should be shared with everyone, right? And people will gravitate to whoever they want to gravitate to.
They can go to both. They can do what that's what this is about. It could be both. It just can be a lot more than what it's been in the past couple of years, bro. So and call it a gamble. Call it maybe there's an ignorance behind it. Maybe somebody who's got the experiences look at me like, you're stupid as hell, bro. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm stupid as hell. I don't know, bro. But I'm betting on this. I'm betting on the new guard being the guard that helps American boxing get to where it used to be. Because believe it or not, salute to the old guard. Boxing fell off under y'all watch.
Yep.
Don't worry about it, though. We're here to bring it back.
It is back.
When I met you, Clay, when I met you a few years ago, Clay, I tried to tell you that, you know what I'm saying? We had a different vision.
After the show, we had like a hour and a half, 2 hour private conversation. And bro, it is what it is.
So here you go, Ray. Here's your here's your breakdown, man. Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes. Again, if you don't watch enough UK boxing, you will continue to believe that somehow the American way of boxing is far more superior, in which you will be wrong nowadays because you just don't know. It depends on who's bringing up who, and Sam Noakes has been brought up very well. As round one has spoken up to, he has all of his fights are clearing that 10, 12 round range. He's 28 years old. You saw during the weigh-ins today that's a man. That's what a man looks like. He's got man strength. He knows how to knock people out. He knows the style he's going to fight. He's going to fight that style. What we're all banking on is the eye test, that Abdullah Mason is that guy. He's got the height. He's got the skill. He's got the discipline. He's got the humbleness. But at 21 years old, we are asking, like Clay said, Kobe Bryant, to go play in the All-Star game, right?
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Now, this is why I said, Ray, I think this is going to go to decision. I believe that what everybody thinks Abdullah Mason's got the reach advantage, so he's going to be on his back foot and he's going to box backwards. I disagree. I think that Abdullah Mason is going to fight the way he always fights because it's hard to get rid of it. I think that there'll be pockets of this 12-rounder in where as he's learning to fight in that. Okay, let me give you a little let me give you a little Vernon Forrest here because I got the height and I got the jab. You're still going to see that inside. Let's get down and dirty, Abdullah Mason. So I think
that appetite for smoke.
Yes, and I think the difference is that this time around, Abdullah Mason, or at least we're banking on it, this time around he has learned his lesson. On the flip side, to say that Abdullah Mason will knock out Sam Noakes is not giving enough credit to Sam Noakes. It means the people who say that have not watched enough of Sam Noakes. This guy brought in a crowd. He didn't bring in his crowd just to get knocked out. I'll tell you that right now. Exactly. So he's bringing all the juice. This will be a test for Abdullah Mason for us to find out, is he really the real deal? And I'm picking him on a decision. I think it'll be 8-4. Something like that. 8-4 in a closer looking match than what it is. But just like you said, Ray, it's very difficult to pick. I don't want to put the money on plus 390. I have a feeling that Abdullah Mason will come out at the end with a decision. Moving on to Bam Rodriguez and Puma Martinez. If you've watched a lot of Puma Martinez like we have, you will understand that he is tailor-made for Bam Rodriguez. Bam Rodriguez might actually finish this guy faster than Bam finished Kafu. I thought Kafu was a little bit more difficult and was giving Bam some fits. Puma Martinez will be right there for him. Yep. And Ray, I think Bam Rodriguez is going to knock him out to the body, bro. I think that body's going to be there all day.
It's going to be so fast. Watch.
You know what? Puma, credit to Puma because that guy he's strong. He's built. The Argentinian fighters don't just go away. So I'll give him about 5 rounds. I'll give you 5. Right, but eventually
inside six, I think he just gets.
Yeah, I definitely think.
I would bet the under. Yeah, if you guys go into, I would bet the under for sure. You'll make more money on betting the under. But I do believe Bam Rodriguez will knock him out. The Brian,
I got the uppercut though. I got the uppercut in between the guards, but the body's gonna play the party.
I got the body on this one. With the Brian Norman versus Devin Haney, we've talked about it so much for so long. Everything you guys are saying is true. And it is true that Devin Haney didn't just say yes to this fight. And I'm not talking about Bill. I'm talking about Devin. He didn't say yes to this just to walk in there, get a payday, and lose. He's obviously training at his highest level. He's finally not having to sink himself to make the weight or any of that. His body's finally going to get a chance to fill out to what it is. So no matter what the result is, Ray, win, lose, draw, I believe Devin Haney's here to stay at 147. I think he's going to be a major player at 147, and I think he's going to help make the welterweight division the glamour division it should be again, right? No matter what happens. And I do respect Devin Haney for that, because there's this narrative that, I think Bill said it yesterday where he was saying, well, you know what? We're giving you a chance. Well, you know what? Not really, because the champ is Brian Norman Jr. And I think that every single time you hear either the Haneyacks or anyone talking about how great Devin Haney is, they're taking away from how great Brian Norman Jr. actually is. He's only 24 years old. And prior to Xander Zayas, that was our youngest world champion, right? At the same time, we're talking about a country kid. This kid, he's not coming out with rims and jewelry.
You've been to Atlanta, bro.
I'm just saying though, right? Like he's a very humble, let me work out, and he's second generation. He has seen what his dad went through. He's learning from his dad's mistakes, right? His dad is very invested in him just being a good man, and his boxing skill his boxing punching power for sure is God gifted, right? But even just the skill level that he brings to this, which I think a lot of people are discrediting. I think that a lot of people think Brian Norman's just going to walk forward guy. I think that just like with Tommy Hearns versus Sugar Ray Leonard, you saw kind of a flip and seeing the roles reverse, right? Then you got to see how good of a boxer Tommy Hearns actually is. And then you saw how good of a puncher Sugar Ray Leonard actually is, right? In a fight like that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be that close, Ray. I'm not. Because I honestly believe, and you guys are going to hate me for this, but I have this feeling. Remember when I told you, when you guys kept telling me that Chris Eubanks was going to do what he did to Conor Benn? And I just had this feeling that I think Conor Benn wasn't getting enough credit for his actual boxing IQ and skill level.
Yeah.
I think the same thing's happening to Brian Norman. I think that everybody's not giving him enough credit for his boxing skill and IQ level. So I believe that Brian Norman will win this by decision. I think you might even see it kind of like how Conor Benn beat Chris Eubanks. Not so much in a dominating fashion like that, but that you could clearly see that the power of Brian Norman Jr. in taking up space in the ring is bothering Devin enough that his experience will help him survive the decision, but because he lacks being able to kind of steal around because of a knockdown, I think it'll be the other way around. I think Brian Norman will score at least one knockdown, maybe two, but head on to a decision, and Brian Norman Jr. will win. Maybe it may be a 7-5 Clay, but it could even be like what you guys are saying. It could be 6-6, but the knockdowns will be the difference. And that knockdown will be like, okay, yeah, Brian Norman clearly won, especially because of the knockdown. But Devin Haney showed us that he is a 147-pounder, and he deserves to be in this platform. And we should all praise him. We should all praise him. So that's the way I see that one.
I know Ray about to jump in, but I got some super chats. If I don't catch
good.
it,
I'm not jumping.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll do the last. I'll do the last one after you.
Yeah,
super
let
chat.
me just do. It's not that many, but if I don't, I'm going to miss it. Oh god, let me go back down. Let's see. The one thing about this restream app is different from StreamYard. The super chats are in their own little category, so you can always go back to them and just knock them out. This one, unless there's a way to do it, I have to literally scroll down and find them. So bear with me as I make my way through. It shouldn't take me too long. I know CJ Rich. Hold on a second here. I know CJ Rich put one up earlier today, showing support for the channel. Got
all weird. You can't even type in the chat here.
Goodness gracious. Okay, CJ Rich, thank you for the support, man. I'm trying to find you. I know I saw you before, and I didn't. He also gave out a bunch of memberships to the channel to help the channel, man. Salute to you. I don't see you yet in here. I'm trying to find you. Shout out to Warrior Class. Grassroots always supporting the channel. With the super chat says Devin Haney chin will be tested and may get clipped by Brian Norman. So the test will be, can Devin recover quickly, make adjustments, come back and win? I like it, man. I like it. And I think so too. I feel like when it's all said and done that Brian Norman is going to connect at some point. And the question is, how's Devin going to deal with that? The earlier, the better for Brian Norman, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, and only because there's going to be a lot of investment in this fight, but strategy is going to play a key. I think it's an opportunity for the Norman family to come together strategy-wise. If Brian Norman Sr. has been honest about what he sees in Devin and he honors the strength, but at the same time has faith and confidence in what Brian Norman brings to the table, I think we're going to see it play out the way it does. Warrior Class, another $5 super chat, and it says Abdullah Mason has foot place issues. Remember knocked down twice by remember knocked down twice by Super Shag. He's talking about Johan Vasquez.
That's crazy. That's why I started laughing.
Yeah, but Mason made adjustments to win, but he needs to fix the footwork. Yeah, I agree. I think that the thing about these young fighters, and here's my last thing to say about, because we're about to go to, I'm gonna give everybody a chance to close it out. But the last thing I'm gonna say is about these young fighters is they're getting better so fast in between fights that using the triangle theory with them, you have to put a little bit of an angle on them, because you have to also acknowledge the fact that these guys are developing, and that every fight there's an opportunity for them to do something way greater than they did in the last fight. They're going to constantly be showing you these fits of fundamental flaws. They're going to be doing these things and growing, but the competition and the matchmaking and the developing of the fighter is going to play a big part into what they do. And I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see adjustments in I think we're going to see big adjustments in Brian Norman Jr.'s approach. We're going to see big adjustments in Abdullah Mason's approach. These guys are young, and that's what they're going to do. And I think the veterans in these fights, or the people who we know, I think they pretty much are who they are. They're getting a little better. You never stop learning, but they are who they are. It's the young fighters who were wondering, can they step up? And I think this is an opportunity for them, and I think it's a changing of the guards. Shout out to Blade Brown also with the support in the channel just right now with a super chat. with the $5 says, salute to you guys, man. Salute to you, Blade Brown. Appreciate the support, man.
Salute, Blade Brown. Salute. So let me finish this up, Clay, so you can close it out. Benavidez versus Yard is the main event. It's for the WBA, WBC 175-pound title. We saw what the weigh-ins look like. I'm going Benavidez by decision, but I do want to point this out that no one said yet. So you see Benavidez in there. You see his son is a big part of this whole thing this week, right? His dad, it's a family affair. There's going to be moments where everyone who believes that Yard's got the power to hurt Benavidez. There may even be moments in this fight where Benavidez will get clocked a little bit. There's no way, Clay, in Benavidez's heart of hearts, will he look like a punk in front of his own son, man. That will not happen. So
you heard him in the background too.
yeah,
bro.
So I think that I say that, Ray, to say that there's going to be that part of Benavidez that's going to give him that extra little booster when it comes to if he feels like he's trapped in danger, kind of the same way Yard did it with Beterbiev in some parts of the fight, right? That Benavidez will look to go, all right, man, strap up, and then he'll get out again. But you're absolutely right that this is the time that we need to see Benavidez. Is the jab working? Can you use your distance? Is your hand speed going to translate to the combinations? You know, maybe not like Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler style, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like, let's see you boxing a little bit more, because at 175, we haven't seen him be the monster at 175. We've seen him be the Mexican decision maker at 175, but not the Mexican monster yet at 175. He decisioned Morrell. He decisioned Vosdick. I think this will be a decision against Yard. But as long as at 28, he continues to grow into that 175 body well, and hopefully round one is not right about this, and that Benavidez is doing all right for himself. I really don't want to see you go up to Jai Opetaia right now, man, because Jai Opetaia is a different animal. Please just stay at 175 and fight Bivol and the rest of the crew. Yeah. But I got Benavidez by decision, Clay.
Salute, man. I appreciate all you guys, man. I'll let you guys land it right quick. Just say whatever you got to say. Shout out to your channels, whatever you got to do. But I got to get up and get ready to.
All right. I want to leave all four of you guys with this food for thought. Just a little over 24 hours, Sobria Matias tested positive for Austrian.
I wanted to talk about that too.
And I want to wait. Hold up. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, Clay. Yes, we will. But I just want to tell you guys a little story, and stop me if you heard this before. Once upon a time, Ryan Garcia tested positive for Austrian in a city called New York City, representing the organization fighting for the WBC. Now, this right here, Sobria Matias tests positive in New York City, fighting for the WBC. Stop me if you heard this already. Okay?
Yeah, I heard it.
And that's just food for thought. That's just food for thought. Okay? Cool. All of a sudden, he opts out of this fight. Remember, Sobria Matias and Dalton Smith were supposed to be on this card. They chose to opt out, go to a purse bid, and show the big guy the little guys can still do business. And I don't think they like that too much. And all of a sudden, the lady that was the head of New York City, when Ryan tested positive, 4 days later, she retires.
Thank you
right?
for this.
No, this is just food for thought. I've seen this movie before, where you fight in New York City, you test positive for Austrian, and you fight for the WBC. I'm not saying anything. Just, I'm going to leave it to you guys. My name is Edwin. I'm from Round One Sports Talk. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Word up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Salute to Edwin, man. Round One Sports, man, for sure, man. Hey, man, sometimes a wise man once said there's no such thing as coincidences in life, right? So we never know, right? We never know, man. The politics, it won't shock me at all, man. Shout out to you. Anything you guys want to say before we bounce? Because about that time.
I'll be quick. Yeah, just get that green belt off your wall if you think the WBC is setting up people.
Yo, listen, and I got it. I got it with my boy. You notice the Puerto Rican flag.
Back and do the Riddick bow.
Notice the Spanish flag representing Subriel with the
But,
WBC.
Right.
That would be my first thing. My thing is, I just want to state this. Listen, this is going to be an exciting weekend. We already know what kind of fights we're getting, top notch, all around the board. We're going to see some great action. Regardless of what people think or what side you're taking, just be there for the fight, support the fight. Let's bring boxing back, because this is what we wanted. As Clay mentioned earlier, this is what Turkey has been given to us, and I think it's forcing the hand of other promoters. You even see some of their guys fighting on these cards, so it just shows you that boxing is definitely taking a course of action and to moving in parallel into the right direction, regardless of Zuffa or other things that Angelo likes to touch on. This is where we need to be, and this is where boxing is at. It's built here on YouTube, on these channels, on other social media platforms, and this is what we're trying to do, is share this with you and bring it to you and engage you guys, which you didn't have the time to do when these guys are fighting right here. You didn't have that opportunity to engage, but now you do, and it's great to get the feedback. You know what I mean? And shout out to my boy Pillow Fist, Glass Jaw, you Devin, whatever, and he had 20 other nicknames. Good job to you, man. Shout out to you. And I hope everything works out for you and no car runs you over. I'm not saying that. I just, karma's a moso, but I'm just going to leave
We
it
want
there.
you protected. We want you in good health, brother. We
Right.
want
I
you
just want you to come back so we can talk about it tomorrow.
Listen,
Right.
let me tell you something. Wish life on him, because at the end of the day, that as long as he's living and outside, he has an opportunity to get his shit together.
That's what I mean.
You
That's
heard?
what
So
Right.
stay out here, man. Don't go
karma,
away
baby.
a piece
No
of
karma,
shit.
baby.
Fix it up before he calls you home. You heard? Don't be your whole life.
Yeah,
Right.
Listen, man. If that's the case, then man, listen. God bless you, and hope you have a blessed day.
Hey, there you go, Ray. Always take the higher road, bro. Always take
I
the.
thought I did. I said, I hope nothing bad.
Yeah. No. That was good. That was good.
It was another statement somebody said to him before, so I just want to make sure I clarified it. Make sure nothing bad happened.
So just real quick, Ray is Boxing on Instagram. If you guys ever want to talk Raider content, or you want me to send you where some of these fights are, I'm sure you guys already know how to take the ones that you haven't seen yet on YouTube. Always great to have you do your soliloquies, Clay. ATP Combat Media is going to be, I'm sure, going to be talking about, because we didn't even get to touch on it today, Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, Netflix.
Did you see my face? I was looking at it right here. I was looking at the face off, and I was like, diabolical. Listen, bro. I don't even want to do. I got stuff to do, but that one was awkward. When
it was awkward.
Off, it was awkward. Ooh. When I saw the face off, I was all right.
The reason why, again, I bring it up is just like Ray touched upon earlier. I think it's important for everyone, especially mainstream casual sports fans, to jump into YouTube spaces like this so that you can learn about the in-depth knowledge you need to know about boxing, right? Like what's actually happening in the in-depth knowledge of boxing. Because if you're looking at what Clay's showing us on the phone, that's not, I mean, it is boxing, but it isn't boxing.
Well, this
right?
is scary.
Wait a minute.
That's what this is.
Just 2 weeks ago, Jake Paul was looking down at his opponent, Tank Davis.
Right.
Now he's looking up at a real opponent. So
damn.
Well, this is that it looked like a moment of clarity,
right?
In that face off, it looked like Jake. All the shit talking is cool, but listen, bro, that was
right.
Until you're standing face to face with him,
right?
Yeah,
right.
And Anthony's look at him like, "Thank you,
I'm gonna crush you."
Appreciate the pay.
I'm gonna crush you.
But again,
I must break you.
Yes,
I bring it up, Clay, again, so that everybody will understand that. That's just part of the business of boxing. That is a spectacle and a circus that Netflix is willing to fund, because Netflix is not in the business of boxing. Netflix is in the business of entertainment. And if they can show you a car crash, they will. So 100 million global subscribers will get a chance to see that car crash that we're going to witness on December 19th.
You're damn right.
It is what it is, guys. Hey, man. Salute to everybody, man. Thank you guys for jumping up on the panel, man. I gave the picks, man. Hey, man, may the best man, no matter what, win tomorrow. Boxing wins tomorrow. We win as boxing fans tomorrow. If there was a bet on FanDuel and it sold us on there, I would tell you to pick us every time, man, especially on this one. We definitely the favored to win tomorrow, man. Salute to everybody,
All right.
man.
Right,
Hey,
all right.
Combat Media,
Absolutely.
man. Appreciate you guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace out.
Who knew I would make it this far? They never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces.
Hey guys, if you hear me, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, like the channel, hit that hype button. The hype button. Hit the hype button. Hype me up. Yeah.
When it go up. Ain't got no other plans. You don't need to understand. Ay, we on overtime. You don't need to understand.